Welcome to the Toddcast, take 2. I just did this once, and because of this high-end production value, we didn't record properly. So we're going to take another crack at it. Thanks for being with me. It is Friday morning, and of course, the Steelers are coming off a rough 24-19 loss to the Cleveland Browns that drops them to 8-3. And I got to watch this last night with a couple buddies. And one of the things, I watched a lot of the games by myself or with one or two people. I'm pretty low key and I don't get very emotional. It was fun, very fun to watch with the guys I was with. So appreciated them coming over. B, man, it's you still find some older guys getting emotional about Steeler games and every single play. And that game provided plenty of opportunity to scream at the television and or the folks around you or everything else as the Steelers kind of, after a slow start, get back in it. Look like they're going to put the game away up 19-18, but can't convert a crucial third down, have the worst punt of the season, and let the other team go right down the field for a touchdown, and then aren't able to get the winner to get back, take the lead back in the last second. So let's talk about a variety of things, but rather than kind of rehash the whole game and all these things that we could talk about, a few things to start with at the top. Two really important points I think that are takeaways from this game. One, on offense, the Steelers have no idea who they are in short yardage. They have no short yardage identity. They have failed with both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in for short yardage. They don't know whether they want to run or pass. They don't have a running play that they can go to. The offensive line in this particular game, I think, probably blown up as much as they have been all season. Obviously, Myles Garrett, a great player, was certainly the more dominant of the two stars in terms of Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. A tough game for Zach Frazier. So, one key point, Steelers do not have a short yardage identity and don't know what they're doing. Two, defensively, talking about TJ Watt, this has now been 3 or 4 games where TJ Watt has been kind of a non-factor. And again, my buddy Dean and I have been talking about this for years, and he pointed it out 3 or 4 years ago, so credit to him, that the Steelers have been lining TJ Watt up in the same spot all the time, doing the same thing. And as TJ Watt dominated early in the season, offenses know what to do now. They have just decided they are going to use 2 guys to handle TJ Watt. And it's either they're going to double team him or they're going to have a slot back, a tight end, somebody over him, running back to chip him and then have the tackle take him. And that has severely impacted the impact that TJ Watt has on games. So have to do something to move him around. Look, if you flip sides, maybe the offense figures that out. They can motion a tight end over. But if you're forcing them to adjust to you rather than knowing he's going to be there every play and kind of having carte blanche about how they want to call their offense. And occasionally you stun them up the middle or do something different like that and, show them different looks. Get a guy who is clearly one of the 3 or 4 best defensive players in the game back into a position where he can have more of an impact, because that has been certainly a problem for the Steelers defense. Okay, those are 2 things. I want to start with kind of what happened in the last 4 minutes of the game, because, look, in a game like this, 24-19, as with every game, look, there are plenty of plays that are crucial plays over the course of the game, and there are fingers to point in this game across the board. Mike Tomlin, I think he had a disaster in terms of how he managed the clock in this game and how they managed the personnel groupings on offense. Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith in that. As you know, I'm not a big fan of criticizing exact play calls or defenses that are used offensively and defensively, because look, these guys are professionals. They spend an entire week putting things in, getting ready to use them. And to say, because it didn't work when you pass on third down or you run on third down, that was clearly the wrong call. I think most of the time, look, it's execution. The other guys are paid, as well. So I'm less interested in criticizing that type of stuff. However, This game, I'm going to criticize it because the play of the game for me comes down to what happened in the last 4 minutes. Okay, Steelers down 19-18, ahead 19-18 after a wonderful pass from Russell Wilson. By the way, great game from Russell Wilson. Not perfect. When did the pendulum start swinging back on Russell Wilson as kind of, not playing great? He played great in this game. Russell Wilson was so far down the list on problems in this game. I've seen some people criticizing him. Yeah, he got sacked a few times. It'd be better to get the ball out. Of course, that was an A-plus game from Russell Wilson. Okay, so after the wonderful pass to Calvin Austin over the deep middle, don't see much of that. 23-yard TD. Steelers take a 19-18 lead. Didn't love the play call on the two-point conversion. Cordell Patterson is a big guy, single coverage out there, but is that really the guy you want to be throwing to? And is that, again, just comes back to this point I made earlier. Short yardage, Steelers have no idea what their identity is. They don't have any go-to plays. They don't even know who they want to play quarterback in some of these situations now. So, didn't love that two-point conversion. So they have a 2-point lead here, which comes back to be a 1-point lead instead of a 3-point lead, comes back to be incredibly important in this last stretch. Okay. Browns get the ball. Jameis Winston completes a pass, and then Jameis is Jameis. You've heard enough. 40 yards, 40 degrees. Hasn't played in cold weather. Hasn't played in snow. It's not like he's never seen snow. It's not like he's never, been cold in his life. But okay. But what we do know is Jameis, in the best of weather and in a dome, is still very capable of throwing it to the other team, and he does that as he hits Dante Jackson right in the numbers. And it looks like Steeler victory. I mean, it really does. It's Steeler victory. There's 3 minutes and 40 seconds left as the Steelers have the ball. And one first down is probably going to clinch the game. Really, it is. 2 first downs, no problem. So what do the Steelers do here? So the Steelers go with a run play on first down. Absolutely the right play. See what you can do. Look, the run game was erratic. It wasn't great, but it was erratic. Better early in the game, but they were still making. They had some plays, some holes where they gained some yardage. So, it was 4:22 left when Najee goes for 3 yards. Russell Wilson at quarterback. Okay, no problem. Run off 30 seconds. What happens? Russ, being the veteran guy, runs the play clock down as he should do, and Steelers come back with Justin Fields at quarterback and hand the ball to Najee. Now, I don't necessarily love that right there, but that was almost identical to the situation where Justin Fields had his big play. It was a 2nd and 6. They caught me. I think they caught everybody by surprise because it wasn't the typical short yardage situation where you expect to maybe have Justin Fields in instead of Russell Wilson. So when they did that, kudos to Mike because it was the one time it worked. Justin Fields goes around right end. Connor Hayward, the only good thing he did in the game is he blocked and tackled 2 guys, and Fields goes for 30 yards. It was a huge play in the game, and it jump-started the Steelers' offense. So I'm not disregarding that. But the point is here in this situation, late in the game, okay, you put Fields in and you hand it to Najee again, and you gain 3 yards. Okay, 3rd and 4, pretty close to for the ball game because the Browns call timeout here with 3:34 left and they have 2 timeouts left. So it's 3rd and 4 at the Steeler 30-yard line. And what are you going to do? Okay. You have 2 or 3 options here, and the Steelers chose option 4, which was absolutely the wrong option. I don't care whether you run or throw the ball here with 3:34 left on 3rd and 4 on your own 40. Here's the deal. I love when teams take shots deep on 3rd and 4th and short. Now, let me tell you why. 1, because you're going to get man coverage, and it's one of those rare occasions when you almost guaranteed to get single coverage on the outside. So you have a guy like George Pickens. This is a real opportunity, and you can gain yards. Big chance to get points. Here's the problem with doing it right in this situation. You don't need points. The reason you take those shots during the game is to set up opportunities, big games, score touchdowns, get leads, win football games. Okay, you have a lead. It's late in the game. Needing big yards is not what you need. You need 4 yards. You need to get a first down here. And I'm not going to say you guaranteed win the game, but you're damn close to winning the game with a first down with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. The Browns only having 2 timeouts in the 2-minute warning. You at the 35, pressing forward, having some success, and at worst, you're going to force the Browns to use the rest of your timeouts running the ball. At best, you're going to get another first down, and the game is over. So this is an incredibly important play. Now, the worst possible thing the Steelers could have done here, and this is on Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith 100%, is have Justin Fields in for this play and throw the football. It makes zero sense to me. You have Russ, who's 18 for 22 for 241 yards. He's been killing it on 3rd and 4th down. I think he was 11 for 12 for, 180, 200 yards. Just been fantastic. Good decision making. This is why you have Russell Wilson. His veteran experience, he's been in this situation a million times. He's going to make a good decision. You can give him some options, and worst case scenario, Russ kind of, has a run pass option, or you roll him out or you do something, and he eats it, and the Steelers lose a yard or 2, and they punt, and the Browns have to decide, A, whether to use their second timeout or 30 more seconds run off the clock, and you have that situation. Instead, the Steelers keep Fields in the game, which you think, okay, well, you have your running quarterback. Maybe he pops one through the hole as he runs right or left, whichever way, or even up the middle, whatever. But no. So we don't have Russ in the game, which absolutely should have been Russ in the game on 3rd and 4. So 2, you have Fields in the game. So obviously you really should be running the ball here. This is not a moment where let's catch him by surprise. 3, you don't have the right quarterback in, and you've decided you're going to throw the ball, but at least give him the roll right option and then eat the football or run so that he's going to have either a high percentage throw or he's going to hold the football. We do none of those things. We have Russ throw deep to George down the left sideline. Yeah, there's some tangled and whatever, but it's not successful. All of the options above, they choose the wrong option on how to run the play. And it's an absolute killer. It is an absolute killer. You don't use the QB with experience who's killing it throwing the ball. You don't use the QB who can run the ball well and give him the option on the run pass stuff on an easy throw to get the first down to potentially win the game. You have your less accomplished passing quarterback throw deep in a situation where points make no difference. You need a high percentage completion. Just failed. I mean, you couldn't fail the test worse. And to me, if you're going to point to a play, maybe you point to that one, or maybe you point to the next one where Corliss Waitman, who has been outstanding, and I literally praised the special teams, the specialists this week as being the best they have been in my 55 years of following the Steelers. Outstanding. Corliss Waitman kicks the all-time JV punt of 15 yards. So it goes from the Steelers 30 to the Steelers 45. Oh, man, is that brutal. But all is not lost, right? Still 19-18. You hope the defense can step up and make a play. And we watch what happens here. This was not the Steelers' defense at its finest, as the Browns forward goes for 7 yards on first down. Now, this then takes them to the Steelers 38, and Jameis throws incomplete, and the Steelers have a play on 4th and 3, and they get a first down to Jerry Jeudy. That another chance for the Steelers essentially to win the game, as Jeudy goes for 5 yards, wide open on the left sideline. Tough weather conditions for everybody. Again, the Browns, who couldn't convert a 3rd down for their lives, convert every 4th down they look at. And so they convert that 4th down, which Again, Steelers win the game. Like the Cowboy game, this is now 2 games where the defense has had a chance late to end the game, and they don't. So now they get another first down, and Winston gets a pass for 8 yards on first down to the Steeler 25. Now, look, the Browns obviously have to score to win this football game down 19-18, but a field goal wins the game. Now, that play for 8 yards, which I was very surprised on their first play that they ran on the first play of the first series. This is now the second series of this drive after their first down. They pass and they gain 8 yards. And now they're at the Steeler 25-yard line, and there's just above 2 minutes left. The guy's gone out of bounds, so the clock stops with 2:05 left. Okay, this is crunch time. You're thinking about Stefanski. You're thinking about Tomlin and Terrell Austin. What's going to happen here? You know it's a 2-minute warning. This is maybe where the Browns, they can pass the ball here, and they know the clock's going to stop either way, right? The play's going to take 5 seconds, so if they run or they pass, so time isn't an issue. And time is not an issue here for the Browns. Look, they're in this range. It's the time is now against the Steelers, and the Steelers defense, aside from thinking about can they get a stop, they need to think about using their timeouts, which they completely butchered in the first half, which I'll get to in a minute. So, as you know, in a little bit of a surprise, not in a surprise, the Browns run up the middle, and the Steelers, Cam Hayward makes the play, and the clock stops here at the 2-minute warning, which for the Browns is good. They're at this point now they want to be using clock. So now they face this third and 2, which is a crucial situation, and Patrick Queen comes free on a blitz as Winston drops back to pass. And this is where all hell breaks loose in terms of the referees kind of trying to get the call right, the Steelers trying to figure out what's going on, taking forever to get this all sorted out. A couple things. One is they got the call right, okay? Here's the deal. The reason it's not intentional grounding is when you're throwing the ball as a quarterback, if you get hit while you're throwing. Now, if you get hit before you throw, then it can be intentional grounding because the contact's been made. But if you haven't thrown and then you get hit, which is what happened to Winston by Patrick Queen, nice job by him, just comes in there untouched, nice scheme, and he gets hold of Winston, and the ball flails out, and one of the Browns' offensive linemen is the first guy to touch it. Okay, so it's not intentional grounding for the reasons I just described. So they got that right. It is illegal touching for the Browns because a lineman who's ineligible touches the ball. So now, here's the thing. There's a minute 55 left in the game, and this is a crucial decision. Now, I'm going to kill Mike Tomlin in this podcast, this Toddcast, and Arthur Smith and Terrell Austin because I think they did a lot of things wrong here. I will tell you, in the moment, and there's some confusion on the sideline because the Steelers initially thought this was an intentional grounding call, which you would obviously accept because what comes with that is loss of down, okay? No loss of down for illegal touching, ineligible touching by the lineman. So there was definitely confusion on the sideline. But what it comes down to is, do you want the Browns to have a 4th and 2 with a minute 55 left and kicking a 40-yard field goal, or do you want them to have 3rd and 7 from a little bit further back, which matters because now we're talking about obviously a 45-yard field goal if they don't gain any yardage in shit conditions. So what do? I have to say, I did not have a strong conviction at the time as to what the right call was. I understand. I don't think it's black and white. So the Steelers first declined the penalty because, as I said, they thought it was intentional grounding, which would have been loss of down and 10 yards. And in this case, it wasn't. It was 5 yards. So they accept the penalty, and they have to use a timeout here. And again, I don't want to be too critical in this situation because there was so much confusion on the sidelines and what the actual call was. But again, this timeout proves to be crucial. And clock management in this game was a freaking disaster by Tomlin and the Steelers in general. So in hindsight, I think I would have forced Stefanski to make a decision what to do with 4th and 2 at the Steeler 24-yard line. I did not see any post-game press conference or anything this morning from Stefanski about what his decision would have been. But I'm guessing, I'm not even going to guess. Hopkins, a 41-yard field goal, don't know what he would have done. Don't know. But in hindsight, I would have liked to have forced the Browns to make that decision. And I'll tell you, and now, look, again, this is, I try never to do this. This is Friday morning quarterbacking. Because the point is, if they go for it, okay, they're gonna run the offense, and if they're successful, blah, blah, blah. If they go for it and don't make it, obviously Steelers win. Field goal means the Steelers are down 2 points and only need a field goal to come back and win the game with Boz. And again, you're going to have the good side of the wind with less than 2 minutes to go. There's going to be a significant amount of time and a timeout, 1:55. That's plenty of time if you're remotely competent at managing the clock. And Russ is. That's plenty of time. So in hindsight, I would have declined the penalty and had them go for it. In the moment, I was indifferent. I had a couple of guys I was with, as I said, watching it, great fun with them. One of the guys particularly liked accepting the penalty. Can't argue with that. I really can't. Defense has to make a play. And if they make a play there, great. You know what? They don't make a play. And what happens? Tell you what happens is Winston, guy has never apparently seen a snowflake in his life, completes a pass to Jerry Jeudy. Now, I'm annoyed about what happened here because Jeudy runs across and he's wide open and he gains 14 yards. So now the Browns are down to the 14, going to whatever he is down there inside the Steeler 15-yard line. Nobody touches him. Porter, Minka, whoever was around the ball there, nobody touched him. And Beanie Bishop sees this as Jeudy gets up and Beanie goes over and knocks the ball out of his hand. You know what? Really smart play by Beanie Bishop. Incredibly smart play. Flag from the referees. Now, again, the confusion of the moment, the fog of war. Okay, this is what's going on here. Remember last week when when George Pickens, there's a long pass play to Pickens, and the Ravens intercept the pass, and Pickens looks like he goes by. He doesn't really try for the ball, and it looks like he does nothing, but he actually touches the Ravens defender on the ground. Now, it's very hard to see in real time. The guy gets up and runs 40 yards the other way. But the refs saw it, they make the right call, and the ball comes back. In this play, with the snow coming down, if you're an official, maybe you don't want to interject if you're far away because it's difficult to see. Through the snow, everything else. Two guys were right there. Maybe a foot touched him, maybe it didn't. But it turns out that nobody touches him. And I watched this play a couple times. I didn't hear a whistle. Doesn't mean there wasn't one. But I didn't hear a whistle. Now, is Jeudy giving himself up just because he's stopped? You don't really call that in that situation. So to me, this could have been a live play. And Beanie comes up and knocks the ball out. You know what? It was a brilliant play by Beanie Bishop. Flag comes in, he gets 5 yards. Now, letter of the law, what the refs should have done here, and this is important. The refs should have gotten together and said, first of all, the Steelers should have pled their case, and I didn't see anybody do that. So maybe the refs didn't understand and thought it was just a frustration play. It wasn't. It was a smart play, and I think if the refs had understood why he knocked the ball out, they don't actually assess that penalty. Didn't see any of that happen. The penalty gets assessed. The Browns get the ball on the 9-yard line. And then, they talk about big plays here down the stretch. Every one kind of these moments when the Steelers have really crucial plays to kind of impact the game. Chubb goes for 9 yards on first and goal from the 7. First and goal from the 9, he goes for 7 yards. And they're down to the 2. And now it's a problem, because the clock's running. The Browns are in that situation. Now, if you're Stefanski and the Browns, you're almost like, do I almost take a knee here? Make the Steelers use the last time out? I might have done that. Or, you just have a quarterback dive, and if he gets in, he gets in. But if he doesn't, you're at the 1-yard line, and another 30 seconds go off where the Steelers use the timeout. There's some things going on here that were, some decisions, some decision tree, game theory type of situation. Well, the Browns give it to Chubb. The Steelers, unclear to me whether the Steelers wanted to let him score or not. They didn't kind of olay him into the end zone, and guys were pawing at the football, which is what they should be doing. But it didn't look like there was a great effort to tackle Chubb. I don't have a problem with that. Chubb goes into the end zone, touchdown. Browns don't get the 2-point conversion, so they go from 18 to 24, take a 24-19 lead, and there's just 50 seconds left after the Steelers get the kickoff at the 35-yard line, and we know a couple completions. They, doesn't happen, blah, 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 Hail Mary. I am not at all worried about what happened with George Pickens on the Hail Mary or whatever. George probably in the postgame shouldn't say they're not a good football team and the weather conditions were why they won the game. I don't believe that NFL players really need bulletin board material, but I do think they use slights like that as motivation. So that'll give the Browns something else when they come to Pittsburgh in a few weeks. Okay. There are a million things to discuss in this game. But the Steelers don't know what they're doing with Justin Fields. I didn't love the way they used him. The 30-yard gain was big. The Steelers have not shown they have a sense of where they are in short yardage. They need to figure out if they're going to use Fields, how they're going to use him. And they also need some clarity. So let's talk about a few other points in this game. In the first drive of the game, when the Steelers got to the 30-yard line and they have a 3rd and 2, they end up, Russ ends up taking an 8-yard sack. They back to the 40. Boz kicks a 58-yard field goal, misses it to the right. Steelers come out of that drive with nothing. On the next series, they have a 4th and 2. They go for it. Fields goes in. They're completely discombobulated about what they want to do, and he gets absolutely stuffed. They screwed both of these up. Let me tell you what, on the first one, 3rd and 2 at the 30 with the Browns, that's 2 running plays there, baby. This is 4-down territory. You're moving the ball on the ground. I hate just right from the start, I felt like the Steelers missed an opportunity in the first drive of the game. Run that ball on 3rd and 2. Again, this wasn't hindsight. We were talking about it at the time. See what happens. Look, if you lose a yard or two, you have Boz and he's kicking it rather than from 58, from 50. He's been gold all season long, and that was before the conditions got really bad. So I think that was a really unfortunate. And obviously in this game, 3 points, one possession, one scoring possession could have dramatically changed the outcome. 2, the Steelers showed that they could throw the football in this game. I mean, passes, Muth for 22, Pickens for 31, Austin for 46, Muth for 19, Jefferson for 35, Austin for 23 and a touchdown. They were having explosive plays left and right. The question was, could they protect the quarterback? And he didn't do a good job of that. They did obviously a much better job in the second half. Russ did a better job of avoiding the rush, getting the ball out of his hands, 4 sacks, all of them in the first half. Again, there's some backlash against Russ after this last game when they didn't score in the red zone. Russ was outstanding in this game, 18 for 22. Like I said, keep him in the game in that big moment. He had his final numbers, I think 21 for 27, 270, 21 for 28, a passer rating over 115, touchdown, no interceptions. Fumble hurt for sure. But really solid game from Russ. It wasn't Mike Williams. Can we not talk about Mike Williams? He wasn't doing much for the Jets. Look, big catch to win the game in the Commanders game, great. Played 25 snaps last week, didn't get any throws. I haven't looked at the final number yet. Played 20 maybe snaps, didn't get any throws. But they made 5 targets to Jefferson and Calvin Austin. They caught all 5 passes for over 100 yards and a touchdown. It wasn't a Mike Williams issue. Yeah, Mike didn't get any targets. Might be nice to get him involved. But Mike not being involved had nothing to do with the Steelers losing this football game. None. So non-factor on the Mike Williams topic. The defense, man, I just can't figure out what I think about this Steelers defense. Fantastic game against the Ravens. Did important stuff containing a very good Commanders offense. This game, they forced 3 turnovers in the second half. 3 turnovers. Really crucial plays at big moments. And the crucial play that Patrick Queen made right at the end of the game to set up a chance to kind of win the game again. But you know what? They didn't. The Browns, I think, 1 for 10 on 3rd down, 4 for 4 on 4th down. The Steelers didn't make big plays when they really mostly needed the big plays. And, that's That's a killer. And they have to figure out in this pass defense, the Steelers are not winning the game in the trenches the past 2 weeks. And they did not get enough pressure on Jameis Winston. Yeah, that hit by Queen was a big one. It was a big play. But Jameis Winston had time to make throws, and he made big throws in big moments. When he had to win the game, he was able to take the Browns down the field to win the game. So need to scheme it up more. I like the fact that they blitzed a fair amount against the Ravens. They were able to move Lamar Jackson around and out of the pocket. Didn't do that this week. Didn't get pressure. Not a lot of individual wins. Didn't get TJ Watt free. Schemed him free, which is part of the job. So need to do a better job. Up and down on this defense, still not sure. I said last week, and I've been talking about it over the course of the season, which is the better side of the ball, the offense or the defense. The offense moved the ball in the first half, didn't get any points. Came back, did their job in the second half. Defense gets 3 turnovers, but can't come up with the game-winning stop. So criticism all around. Mike Tomlin, plenty of criticism again on the packages they used. I hated them. Mike Tomlin absolutely butchered the end of the first half when the Browns have the ball. Steelers stop them on a 3rd and 7 on the Steelers 17. Browns gain a yard. Minute 23 left. Immediately call timeout right there. Immediately. It's your last timeout, but it's a minute 23 left after you get the kickoff. That's plenty of time for a guy like Russ to get the offense in field goal position. Mike lets the clock run. It's 39 seconds go off the clock, down to 43 seconds. Then the Browns call timeout and kick the field goal. Now look, I don't think Stefanski outthought Mike Tomlin and the Steelers were confused and didn't use the timeout. Mike has talked about this before. He likes to have a timeout in his pocket, which he likes to keep for the offense. It's ridiculous. You can control the clock on offense by your play calls, by getting out of bounds, by spiking the ball. You have ample opportunity on offense to control the clock. You have one way to control the clock on defense, and that's with timeouts. You use your timeouts on defense. This is like football. This is freaking clock management 101. So Mike lets 39 seconds run off the clock there, and the Steelers come out. They move the ball a little bit, and they don't get a chance to kick a field goal or score a touchdown. And you know what? They end up taking the one timeout they have left into the locker room because Russ gets sacked late. They didn't do a good job getting to the line of scrimmage. I have criticized the Steelers forever for not being a good team at playing fast. They play okay at tempo. They don't play well fast. They don't play well inside 2 minutes at the end of halves. Ben wasn't good at it. He was great at a lot of things. Hall of Fame guy. He was not great at playing fast. He was great at playing no huddle, great at playing tempo. Those are two different things. Russ got the team to the line. It's always a question, do you spike or do you run a play? I'm generally of the view is if you get them to the line, run the play. But make sure as hell you know what the play is. The Steelers get up there. Van Jefferson's running a go instead of an out. I can't remember if that was at the very end or at the end of the first half. But you need to do the right thing, and the Steelers, weren't able to get things done there. So I think this was a terrible game from clock and personnel management from the coaching staff. Russ was excellent. Again, yeah, you don't want to take some of those sacks ideally, but the Steelers were great moving the ball through the air. Running game, offensive line, not as good. Good early, maybe not as good late. A little better from Warren than from Najee in this game. The secondary receivers, good. Muth, good. No complaints about that. Connor Hayward, boy, wouldn't want to be him in the film room. First play of the game, completely whiffs on a block, and then gets 2 penalties. Uncover the end on one play, covers him up, and then illegal motion on another. Cam had an illegal motion on a field goal. Fortunately, that didn't matter as Boz knocked it through. But and again, defensively, 3 turnovers in the second half. Win the turnover battle 3-1, lose the game. Win it by 2. That doesn't happen very often. So, a bit of rambling. Look, 8-3. The Steelers came into this 4-game stretch of AFC North ball. Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns. 2-2 would be perfectly acceptable. 3-1 would be outstanding. Catbird seat. got the Ravens win. That felt great. You felt like if you got the win here, they'd really be sitting pretty, not even for the AFC North, but also maybe for the conference. Certainly a 2 seed, maybe the 1 seed. But a little tougher now. And they got to take care of business with the Bengals this coming week. But they will have the weekend off and come back at it. I'll come back at it with you next week. If I don't see you before Thursday, have a great Thanksgiving. This is a tough loss, but look, good teams lose games. I don't know where the Steelers are. I don't know whether the offense is better or the defense is better. I think the offense is growing. The defense, the pass defense still worries me, man. It still worries me. The coaching staff and clock management, the coaching staff and understand their personnel groupings, the coaching staff and having an identity on short yardage, those things all worry me too. But have a great weekend, and I'll be back to you next week. Comments are appreciated. Maybe we'll do a Q&A this coming week. So if you want to put Q&A, YouTube down in the comments, that would be great. And follow me on X at David M. Todd. Thanks for listening and watching the David Toddcast.